Welcome back, my little kittens. We are once again playing Connected Hearts. Now, before we pick the other choice for Henry here, which is kneel before him, I wanted to share a couple of realizations that I had between the last episode and this one. So, Raven, my friend, bite-sized cutie, she was playing this game after I suggested it because it freaked me out and I wanted to see if it would freak her out, which she didn't get to that part yet. So if I come up with an update on that, I'll let you know. But she had to play through the beginning part, and I realized that, first of all, each of the notes that Gary found in his apartment relate to each of the children. So, the sheep plushie, but that was a note on it that had written like something along the lines of, I'm scared of the wolves or something and I have to hide. So that was Mary's. And then there was another one with the glass breaking, and it was like, how dare it break when I didn't give it permission to. So I'm assuming that's Henry's. And there was another one. It was like something with a ship sinking. It was drawn onto the mirror. And it was weird, like all roads lead to the same end, and I'm guessing that's the third door. And then the very, very first one was Gary and me with love and hearts and stuff, and I'm assuming that's Alice's. But in the orphanage, on each of the children's beds, there was also names written on them. And it was Gary, Alice, Mary, Henry, and Rory, I believe. So that's them as well. So I figured that out. Probably pretty obvious to anybody who actually was paying attention, but woo, understanding stuff. So, kneel before him instead of speak naturally. That's actually the one that I had kind of wanted to pick, but this game is really weird in the sense of, wait, do I pick the one that's the one I think that should be the correct one, or the one that I think is stupid? It constantly is changing, but whatever. What can you do? Before my eyes, he is just a kid. However, something isn't right here. The way he looks at me is not proper for a child. Plus, he is the king of an unreal world. You don't know what he can do, exactly what I was saying before. Somehow, it seems the illusion of being a ruler went up his head. Instead of looking at me as an equal, or with respect to someone older, he looks down on me, as if I was a pest. No matter how much I hate it, I should play along with him, at least for now. So I kneel slowly, lowering my head with respect. My name is Gary, and well, actually I'm not sure how I got here. It may sound ridiculous, but I simply woke up in this place. I speak as naturally as I can, being respectful more than flattering. The kid stares at me in silence for what seems endless seconds, with a face that says he doesn't know what to think of me. He isn't angry or happy at my presence, at least not completely. It's more like he's curious about me. Did someone else come with you? He asked without even presenting himself before. Seems he still had to learn manners, but I can't blame him. He has lived alone for as long as his fantasy kingdom existed. Answer! He then added, impatient. I don't like the way he looks at me at all. It's kind of going down the same path. My heart becomes heavy, noticing something was wrong. I force myself to show respect, finding none in return. No, I'm alone. I pause after saying that, and then look up to his eyes. Could the king present himself before this visitor? I say it in such a way it seems to be an honor to learn his name, or at least that is my intention. The random capitalizations are happening again. I have no experience talking with the king. Henry I, monarch of the Golden Sun. The child presents himself, talking with so much pride it almost stings. Then he turns to look at me with piercing eyes, waiting for some sort of praise from me. A beautiful title, my lord, I said to avoid falling silence. Yeah, just pretend you're playing, like, imaginary with a kid. Now it's clear to me that he isn't a normal child. He was brainwashed with the title of a king. Then I remember something very important. The masked doll told me he could help me. King Henry, if you would allow the questions, do you know some way to leave this world? I don't wish to be a bother for too long. I feel disgusted at my own behavior, but it doesn't look like I have other options. Why? He's a kid. You don't want to lower yourself? Like, I get that he's a kid and you feel like he should be respecting his elders or whatever, but still, it's not a reason to be disgusted for just giving a little bit of leniency. I'm afraid he might order the puppets to attack me if I make him angry. Every second that passes is too long. After hearing him, I can't help but think he needs a good spanking to correct his tone. No, spanking doesn't do that. But you are right, I do know the exit. There is a well, where images of other worlds reflect. However, it is blocked. I ordered it to be so no reals can enter the kingdom of the sun. After saying that, Henry stares at me, full of disdain, sharp as a blade. I don't know how you came here, but it seems it wasn't from there. I blinked confused, then I nod in silence. No, I just woke up in the middle of a park. I don't know how I entered, but it wasn't by the well, that I can assure you. Well, it hasn't been precisely the nicest conversation, but I gotta admit, it was useful. At least now I knew I had what I had to do to get out. Once again, I lower my head with respect. My king, I have a petition. If you could open the well so I can go back to where I belong. That way, I wouldn't bother you anymore. From my point of view, it is a very tempting offer, but it seems Henry isn't convinced about it. Why not? He stares deeply at me while thinking until he finally speaks. No. If I do that, more real ones could enter. That would be our end. The well must remain sealed. Even more, I'll order my guards to redouble the vigilancy. The coldness and selfishness of his words leave me out of breath. The guards don't do anything, though. They're just puppets that can't see you. My face becomes pale from the incredulity. It should have been easy, yet he opted for that. As for you, Gary, you will be arrested until I find a safe way to expulse you from our world. I can't believe what he says. I'm cold. I sweat in fear, shocked by everything going on. How easy he says it. Guards! A couple of puppets with swords answer his call. They appear behind me so fast, it feels like they have been created out of thin air. They might have, they're not real. Take him away. Henry points at me with his index finger. Wait, they can see you now? The puppets don't doubt in grabbing my arms and pulling me away from his presence. It's weird. It seems that they can see me now, or maybe they always could and simply decided to ignore me. But after being ordered that they couldn't ignore me anymore. In any case, I have no time to think about it. The surprise, anger, and frustration fill my mind, leaving no room for anything else. I don't even bother to struggle. They are armed, and their grip is so hard it hurts. Ooh, that's pretty. I like that. They drag me back all the hallway to the exit. Once outside of the castle, they force me to walk to the town. I walk down the stairs for unknown seconds, cursing in my mind during each single of them. I'm not in my best mood, nor I should be, until finally they open the door of a building that looks about to fall down. I have no other choice but to enter. Well, I assume that the jail hasn't been used very often, so. Inside, there is a big number of cells. Curiously, some of them have puppets inside of them, remaining perfectly still, as if they were just furniture. Actually, that is exactly what they are. For this prison to serve its purpose, it needs prisoners, even if they are just symbolic. They could open the doors and not a single one of them would escape. The puppets open an empty cell and push me inside, closing it instantly with a big key. It's the typical cell used in fairy tales, with iron bars and a huge lock. They say nothing before abandoning me there. I don't say a word either. There's no reason to. They clearly can't hear me. The only thing I do is sigh, just before kicking the door out of frustration. I thought you said it was iron bars with a lock, not that there was a door. Then I rub my face, trying to calm down. What can I do in this place? I feel completely useless. I'm under the impression that Henry will forget about me the moment I'm out of his sight. And escaping sounds like a very faraway dream. The walls are solid and the bars thick. The spaces in between the bars are large enough that a person of considerable size could get through, but the key is very far away from my reach. Once again, I sigh, feeling my life escape with my breath. Wait, did you die? I made a mistake. There's actually one thing I can do. I sit on a corner and close my eyes, feeling pity of myself. That is all. It's the only thing I have left. It is really pathetic, but I got nothing. There is no one here, not a single soul in the prison. I have no one to talk, or ways to get out, or anyone who would come to rescue me. Not even a single thing to do in this empty cell. There isn't even a place to sit other than the floor. It tears my heart just thinking about it, that I'll be here forever. My real fear is being forgotten in this place. I'm not dead yet? I'm a little bit worried I might have picked a wrong choice again, but what else was I supposed to do? Was I supposed to go through... Either this is the correct choice, or I was supposed to go through the second one and get something else first. But that doesn't make sense because the first one I didn't get anything. I sigh in silence, feeling sorry for myself. Then I look up, for no other reason than to kick out. There's no roof. Suddenly, I blink with curiosity. I exclaim confused when I see something inside a crack. With curiosity, I get closer to it. I stick my fingers inside the crack and pull out a folded paper. My heart beats excited, just because this could be the last surprise of my life. I unfold the paper, seeing that there's something written on it. Without wasting time, I start to read it. Apparently the paper was a book. A radiant smile. Long time ago, in a faraway kingdom, there was a kid who always smiled. Even when it rained or it was cold, that didn't stop him. The rain and the cold is nice, actually. Everyone around him was envious, but more than anything felt disgust for such a happy kid. Being so happy should be a sin, I thought. That's awful. Everyone around him are awful people. That's why every day, all the other kids, even the adults, bothered him, repeating the same complaints and mocks, and even punishing him for no reason, in hopes of ruining his good mood. But none of that bothered him. He was like the sun, shined with his own light, with a warmth that was born from inside him without the need of anyone else. A sun that the moon and all the other stars envied for having much more light than all of them together. They wanted to put out his light, darken him to make them like themselves. But in the end, all his efforts were in vain. The more they pressed the kid, the more intensely his smile shined, so intensely, so warm and comforting, like no other star that could exist. After long years, the kid finally realized something. He didn't belong to that place where everyone lived on complaints and anguish. Confusing. No, he belonged to the other place, one high on the sky, far above them. He decided one day, extending his hands to the sky, looking directly to the sun. Without saying a single word, the light and warmth that accompanied him became more and more intense. The white light made it impossible to see anything, and the heat melted and transformed the world around him, until he found himself in another world, one where everyone was his friend, where everyone smiled like him, where everyone thought like him and could live happily forever after. Oh. After reading the story, I sigh, closing my eyes. Then I open them again with an empty look. I do it just by reflex. There is nothing more to see in this place. The walls are as boring as I imagined. The only slightly interesting thing to see is the patterns, the cracked shape, but that interest quickly dies. I let the time pass meaninglessly, not even bothering to count the seconds. It makes no sense to do it. I just stare at the ground, immobile, as if I were a toy without batteries. Suddenly, I feel a huge desire to cry. I feel awful. It hasn't even been a day, and I already can't stand this place. But I hold it, fearing that if I do it, I'll lose the last sliver of my will. I close my eyes and sigh, trying to imagine something else. After long seconds, nothing comes to my mind, at least nothing I haven't thought before. The same questions. Where am I? Who is Alice? What will happen to me? Repeat themselves so many times inside my head that I ran out of answers for them. I used them all. I finally opened my eyes, full of resignation. I feel ashamed of how poor is my imagination. Being like this, I think it will take me less than a week to lose my sanity. And one more week for me to become one of those immobile puppets, lifeless, playing a farce for all eternity. It makes no sense, but I can't help think about it. I blink before tilting my head. I take a breath in silence with my mind blank. And it is then that I see it. My eyes suddenly fix on it, staring at it as if it was something wonderful. I look with surprise and thankful to a simple stone in the floor of the prison. Without doubting, I stand up and pick it up. I put it to my eyes, level, looking at it from every angle. There's nothing special about it, except for the place I found it. Without knowing why, at that moment a spark lights on my mind. My imagination suddenly awakes, an unstoppable river of inspiration. All just by looking at an insignificant stone. Acting by pure instinct, I get closer to one of the walls, and then draw a line on it with the stone. Before a white line had appeared, that soon would be accompanied accompanied by many others. My hand moves as if nothing could stop it, drawing one thing I couldn't take away from my mind. So I draw everything I said before it's turned upside down. I no longer care about the time, nor feel frustrated. Even less, I'm afraid of losing my mind. It is all the opposite. I am completely submerged in what I'm doing, never before feeling as lucid as now. My hand guides me, doing every stroke as clean as possible, ignoring everything else. Until finally my work is done. It is the picture of a woman of great beauty that I can barely remember. The only thing missing is for me to give it a name. Alice. Only one name could be right. Alice.
I hate you. I hate you so much. You.
Oh, it is quite pretty. I almost jumped, surprised, when out of nowhere I hear a familiar voice speak. I instantly turn to that direction, finding the masked doll, who looks deeply at me. She tilts her head and fakes to laugh in silence. You have talent. I couldn't draw something like that, no matter how hard I tried. I just don't have what it takes. Yeah, you don't have an imagination. You're not real. You're fucking creepy. It's nothing. To be honest, if I had better tools, I could have done a much better work. After saying that, I walk towards her until we are just a step apart, looking at her from behind the bars. Why can't she actually be behind bars? Why the hell do you have to be right in front of me? No. Like, stop moving. What are you doing here? It's not like I'm not thankful to see her. I'm not. But without a doubt, it is weird. I really didn't imagine anyone would remember me. She covers the mask's mouth and pretends to laugh. Suddenly, a chill runs down my spine. I had forgotten how weird she was. What am I doing? I'm talking with you. She tilts her head and playfully waves her hands. Now, if you mean the reason why I'm here, that's because I am very special. I make an annoyed face. What is that supposed to mean? The masked doll tilts her head again, covers her mouth with one hand, faking curiosity. What is it supposed to mean to be special? I narrow my eyes, disgusted by that answer. However, then I start to think about it. That you are different, I guess. Unusually special is how you call something unique. To be honest, I had never bothered to think what it means. Seriously? You've never thought about what being special is? Being special is to do something that's above average, or to be something, or anything above average. That is like literally the definition of the word. Well, probably not literally, but you know. It is a word we use so often without truly understanding it. Is that really how other people think? Am I just weird? I don't know. She then moves her index finger side to side in denial. Incomplete. Special is more than just different. It also has to be something positive, something good. Not necessarily. No. I hear people call anybody like who might have like some sort of handicap or something, like their parents will say, No, you're fine. You're just special. And even though the parents might mean that as positive, a lot of people would consider that not. It's just another way of avoiding saying you're different. Being unique does not mean that you are the best. But being called special is the same as saying you are uniquely good at something. In other words, there is something valuable that only you can do. Being like that, isn't it pretty to be special? Or isn't it special to be pretty? Eh? I don't know. Okay. I said, tired before citing. She really talks a lot. She is really weird, but the more I hear from her, I can't stop thinking that what makes her special is that she actually has a soul. She is really unique between the puppets. With all of this, what do you want to tell me? Hey? She exclaimed, confused, before scratching her head. Nothing. Actually, it doesn't have any purpose, but I thought it was fun. I sigh again, annoyed. My mind instantly goes blank. I guess I should have expected something like that. What is strange is that she later smiled. Smile. Did they actually say smile? Because she's always smiling. That's like literally the creepiest part about her. Actually, you know what? I think I know why she's so creepy to me. Like years ago, a lot of times when I would be falling asleep, like my mind would come up with weird images, but like I would always have this pressing need to like open my eyes even though I was this close like to sleep, because like something bad would happen if I didn't, like they'd become real or they would infest my dreams or something like that. I don't know, it was irrational kid fear. But sometimes when I opened my eyes, that image didn't go away. So what I would do is I would draw it. And one of the things that I drew was of like a figure, like peering from, like opening a door and peering around it. And it was like a completely normal face, except for the fact that its smile was like open, kind of like hers, completely black, no teeth, just kind of mask-y, like the way hers is, except that it was a little bit bigger than that. But maybe that's part of the reason I find it so creepy, like subconscious fears or something. But there is something that makes it strangely fun. I believe for the simple fact of being so weird. Well, now that I have heard you, can I ask you a favor? I said with a clear objective in my mind. She claps, full of enthusiasm. Of course, it is only fair. Or I think so. Could you get me out of here? She tilts her head and thinks about it in silence. Well, yeah, she should be able to. Even if she can't, like, physically get you out of there, she could go grab the key from another puppet and give it to Gary so he can just reach around and unlock it. Suddenly, I feel as if someone stabbed my heart with an ice knife. I can anticipate something bad. Okay, is that a knife made out of ice? Or is that a knife specifically made to cut ice? Let you out? My. I guess maybe that is in my power. But don't you think it would be better for you to get out by yourself? My face goes pale when I hear her say that. My heart turns to stone from the anxiety. I look down and sigh, trying to keep calm. I would love to, but I can't do it. A simple human can't break the bars or reach the key. I am trapped. I said, feeling hopeless. She then shakes her head and shrugs indifferent. Why can't you do it? Have you thought about it? Once again, she answers with a question. I must say, I'm not in the mood to reflect about life. I only want to escape, and not just from the cell, but from this world. Because I'm not strong enough, and the key is too far to pick it up. After saying that, I close my eyes and sigh again. For a second, my insides feel empty and cold, as if I had become a howl all of a sudden. She takes a finger to the masked lips, doing a pensive gesture. However, soon later pretends to laugh. And that's a problem? You are a real one. Those steel bars shouldn't mean anything to you. Yeah, because this is all imaginary. The spoon does not exist. Huh? Hearing her answer instantly moved something inside of me. But Gary did pick up the stone and was able to draw on the walls, and he was sitting in the corner, meaning he may have been leaning against a wall. So why would it just be the bars that don't exist? Why wouldn't the wall not exist? Unless it's all just in your mind, you have to admit that it's completely fake and like I said before, the spoon does not exist. That is the quote, right, from The Matrix? I don't know. Something about spoons. It's been forever since I've seen that movie. Suddenly, the hopelessness in my shoulders crumbles like sand. What do you mean? I blink confused while staring at her. The masked doll claps a couple of times. She then grabs the bars, making the gesture of trying to bend them with all of her might. Of course, it's just an act. The real and the unreal are very different things. For anyone form from this world, sorry, just one moment. My little kitty's meowing. Oh, you good little kitty, it works me. Yeah. Oh. Being owned by a cat can be so annoying at some points. For anyone from this world, these bars would be a barrier impossible to surpass. But you are also very special. I mean, I don't remember a single time something imaginary managed to stop something real. Not because you desire it strongly, you can stop gravity. Not because it is fair, things will come out as you desire. She then tilts her head and crosses her arms in a gesture I can't understand. Or rather, hugs herself in a gesture of full affection. Isn't it beautiful to be very special? We too are very special. The thing is in this world, Gary is special, but for the masked doll, no matter what world she's in, she'd be special. Unless she went to a different world where everybody was dolls who had a soul. And it was really creepy. Suzo! I love you! But you gotta sit still if you wanna be near. Yeah. Or you can leave. Go ahead, leave. Classic old tale of, or do you want to be in or do you want to be out? I don't know. Oh. I open my eyes wide in surprise. My lips move, wanting to speak, but I have no words. She basically revealed that I could escape in any moment, and it's only because I never tried that I was still trapped. But there is something more. She is, without a doubt, different. It's impossible she is one of the puppets. She can't be. Yeah, she could always just, put on a mask and fancy clothing and is just pretending so she doesn't get wrecked by the King Henry. The puppets are toys. They have no mind nor soul. They just pretend to have a life, imitating what a person would do in their position. The kids play, the adults work, and the guards keep watch. But they do it so artificially that in plain sight, one can notice that they don't care about it at all. They aren't anything more than a wind-up toy. However, this masked doll is nothing like them. She acts with a free will, showing curiosity, interest, and knowledge. What are you thinking? Did thinking about it paralyze you from the shame? How stupid you are? She pretends to laugh, covering her lips. Doesn't emit a single sound. Is just a jester. The kind can still help you escape. He just needs you to convince him to do it. King, not kind. Come on. I'm pretty sure this was maybe written in chronological order, like first door, second door, third door. So, because the spelling mistakes have been getting progressively worse from the introduction and to this point. So maybe after being through this much pain of bad spelling and grammar and capitalizations and stuff, going back to the second door after this will be a relief. After saying that, I see she turns around, preparing to leave suddenly, without even saying a word. Well, unless this time she didn't just stop, like existing, having a soul, being atomic, Wait, I said before I realized it, while staring at her. She doesn't turn around, but does stop, curious to hear what I had to say. Oh. So, who are you? Well, she's the masked doll. I'm assuming there isn't really an answer to that. And you don't belong to this world. She kind of does. And both of those are basically leading to the same thing again, just like it was with Mary. I don't think it matters, but I'm going to go with you don't belong to this world because that seems a little bit more of a rational statement than who are you. Because, like she said, the real ones always ask the same questions. So, this one would be kind of, unusual and may get her attention. If you don't belong to this world. I stay silent while looking deeply at her. She doesn't react. No, actually her reaction is simply staying silent. Unlike her usual playful and joking attitude, she is seriously doubting. That means I've asked something important. The masked doll slowly moves her right hand, putting it on her face. I see in silence how she takes off her mask and drops it, letting it hit the ground. The sound makes an echo in my mind. I have already told you, I am someone very special. Is she Alice? She has blonde hair. Was the only thing she said before suddenly her body falls apart. No! I wanted to kill you myself! Come on! I mean it literally. It was like seeing a toy being disarmed piece by piece. I blink confused while looking at the spot she was standing before. Seeing what just happened leaves me breathless. I don't know what to think. I remain still for long seconds until I convince myself it is time to move forward. I do just as she suggests. I simply use all my strength to bend the bars. Instantly, I feel how they bend, so easily that it is laughable. It's like as if I had been trapped inside a painted cardboard box. In just a few seconds, I had escaped from the cell that before I had feared would keep me trapped forever. Well, since you escaped, we'll let you stay in this eternal little screen forever. Or at least a few days. Alright, well, thank you for watching. We'll pick this up in the next episode.